Okay, I think we're live now. So good morning, good morning, good morning. So again, good morning to my ITC 100 class. So welcome. So I hope you are doing good and doing well for this morning. So as of the moment, we will wait for the others. So please say present once you are in. But for those who are scheduled to join the live class, so you don't need that because I already checked your attendance. So again, please just reminding you everyone, if you receive an email sa inyo in the invitation sa LARC, that means that you are scheduled to attend the class sa live, not on the channel. Okay? So please disregard sa gisend sa imong classmate because dili man to intended sa inyo, ha. Unless lang kung ingon ko, no? So I hope you that one next time. So anyways, we will wait for a while. Sorry na delayed ng konti because there's some mga technical problems and we had an emergency meeting. So while waiting, patugtog sa daw ta. Tugtog sa to eh.
Minsan, kailangan ma-satisfy ang cravings. Kaya mabuting na may choice para sa healthier alternative. I choose Sunny Sugar-Free Coffee. Sarap ito, satisfy ng cravings ko. Sunny Sugar-Free Coffee. Guilt-free coffee sarap in every cup. With all the things happening around us, sometimes what we need is a little magic. Magic from captured moments to remind us why we need to keep on going. Let these magical moments fuel your passion. Everything is yours to achieve when you capture your own magic. Magic. Let the magic fuel your passion. Everything is yours to achieve. Magic.
Okay, so bawal. Ano nangyari sa background ko? Ayan, I'm so sorry with my background. Talaga hindi maiwasan because you know naman, we're having an online class. I mean, it's a work from home scheme. So, ayun, maingay ng konti dito sa bahay. Ayan, I'm so sorry with my background. Anyways, I'll be using this headset na lang talaga, not the, nangyari sa background ko. Not with the earphone. Okay, I hope you did well with your exam yesterday. So the question is, alright. So does anyone of you here wala ka take sa exam? Tama sa inyo dire? And why is it na konti lang ang nag-watch and hindi siya anong tawag ito? Daghay nag-say present pero konti lang nag-watch. So meron ba dito sa inyo ang ano? Meron ba sa inyo dito hindi nakatake ng exam before tayo mag-proceed sa ating topic? So since there wala na message, but I just want to congratulate the one who got the highest score. So I think it was, yeah, it's Dean Benaventura got the highest score. She got 30.43 out of 55. So congratulations, Dean. So moving on, so we will proceed now to our next topic. So we go now to chapter 5. But while waiting,
Bawal ha, tapos ang tanaw. So how was the exam pala? Can let me hear your voice. Don't worry, just say how was the exam ba?
Okay ra sir, at the same time cool ba?
Hirap kayo episode or nakuha na mo sa time. Oh, by the way, my instruction was you don't need to share it to me the video. My instruction is you put the link sa video to the comment dito sa doon sa announcement section. Others were trying to try to share the folder or the video sa akong video. Di ba wa man ko nag-ingon na i-share ninyo? So please tanggalin yung share. Ang gawin ninyo is share anyone with the link, then copy the link, and auto siyang ibutang sa announcement. Dapat gano'n ang ginawa. So kasi share siya. Oh, auto na. Naghanap ko nag-pop up sa phone. At follow instruction ng phone. So how about sa nagtingin sa channel, how's the example? Putol yun, no? Tingin plus magamit mo ng headset. Kasama kung kato ay earphone po na kung maan kami. Wala mabuti sa noise cancellation. Tira, magulang pa ng isang headset lang. So this morning, so we'll be discussing about we've done chapter 4. Well, so we're done with chapter 4. So we'll move now to chapter 5. Is the system software, operating systems, and utility programs. So tapos naman tayo sa input and output, di ba? Di ba, Dangay? Tapos na tayo.
Yes sir.
Okay, so proceed na tayo ha. So this time, uh, yeah, everything will be recorded, ano? Then you were not going to watch the video. So, ayun. Unlike before na maghatag pa ko og presentation, pero this time, dili na. Tanan sa video, I mean, sa channel. I hope you got it. Okay, so maminaw ta karon sa next topic is the chapter 5, part 1.
Sorry. Sir, dili madungog ang tuyong sa babae, sir. Madungog ang tuyong sa babae, sir.
As the opening and closing other software programs, managing your stored files, locating and setting up new hardware as it is added to a computer. The type of software that is used to perform those tasks is the what we call
Okay, for a while muna ha, because we're
tasks. The opening and closing other software programs, managing your stored files, locating and setting up new hardware as it is added to a computer. System the type of software that is that which is also the main focus of this video. The system software runs in the background at all times, making it possible for you to use your computer. So system software is divided into two categories, the operating system and the utility programs. So they control a computer system and allow you to use your computer. So these programs also enables your computer to boot, to launch applications or application programs to facilitate important jobs such as transferring files from one storage medium to another, configuring your computer to work with the hardware connected to it, and connecting your computer to a network, as well as managing your hard drive and protecting your computer from unauthorized users. Kung ano yung mga um, gamit sa system software. So the other type of software is the what we call the application software. So this software includes all the programs that allows you to perform specific tasks on your computer, like writing a letter or preparing your invoice, as well as viewing a web page or listening to a music file, checking your inventory, or playing a game, as well as kung mag-prepare to of financial statements, designing our home, and so forth. So application software will be discussed in our next video. So for now, we're going to discuss muna the system software. So one of the main category of operating, or I mean, system software is the operating system. So the operating system is a collection of programs that manages and coordinates activities that takes place within your computer. Okay, as well as it is considered as the most critical piece of software that is installed in your computer. So the operating system boots the computer as well as siya po ang rason why we can able to launch application software and ensures that all actions requested by a user are valid and processed in an orderly fashion. So in general, when you talk operating system, it serves like an intermediary between the user and the computer, and as well as between application programs and system hardware. So without an operating system, no other program can run and the computer cannot function. So manay ginaingon nato nga pag walay software, your hardware is useless. So yun nga na siya. So many tasks that is performed by the operating system, however, go unnoticed by the user because nagaran lang siya sa background much of the time. So let me give you an example of how the operating system works. So, di ba, when you issue the command for your computer to store a document on your hard drive, okay, like say for example, ka nang-create ta og file karon, di ba, ato man na siyang i-save sa, para masulod siya sa tong hard drive. Okay, like anytime we want to check that file, we can do that if naka-save siya sa isa ka hard drive. So, kung mag-store of documents sa tong hard drive, our operating system must perform the following steps. Okay, first is um, kinahanglan niya i-make sure that your hard drive exists. So, pag makita niya nga napay adequate space on the hard drive to store your documents, so i-store na niya dito sa kana siya nga location, kato yung specifying location. And then, so, kung may tabo, it will update the hard drive's directory with the file name and the disk location for that file. So, anytime you want that file to be retrieved, so ma-retrieve rin mo kung kinahanglan na to. So, in addition, managing all of the resources associated with your local computer, the operating system can facilitate connection to the internet and other networks. Okay, pwede po nimo nga your operating system will communicate with your hardware device, like example, the printer, to print your document. So, muna isa sa mga pinaka um, useful na parts sa operating system. So, operating systems have a wide range of functions and it includes interfacing with users. So, pag may interfacing with users, so it's one of the principal roles of every operating system. Okay, that is to translate user instructions into a form the computer can understand. Kaya di ba nga, pag may computer, dili na ni it can speak our language. So iyahang language na masabtan is the machine language. So kumbaga i-translate lang niya tung unsa man tong instructions that we demanded to the computer, okay, in a form na masabtan sa computer. So it also translates any feedback from hardware like signal that the printer has run out of paper or that na new hardware devices has been connected to the computer into a form nga kita po makasabot po ta. Like, di ba, na yung mga pop-up na notifications or na yung mga errors. Yung na tong way to understand that there is a problem with um, the like atong connection sa atong hardware, so that is why we need to parang fix that error. So that is one way of interacting with the computer. So that means by which an operating system or any other program interacts with the user is the what we call the user interface. So user interfaces can be whether siya text-based or graphics-based, though not all operating systems today nagagamit og graphical user interface. So, muna siya. Another function of an operating system is booting the computer. So as discussed in our previous videos, the first task that your operating system performs to power up your computer is to boot the computer. So during the boot process, Okay, the essential portion or core of the operating system, tawag na to ano is kernel, okay, is loaded into memory. So the kernel now here remains in memory. So the entire time the computer is on so that it is always available. So other parts of the operating system now are retrieved from the hard drive and then maload na po na siya sa tong memory when they are needed. So before the boot process ends, the operating system determines unsa nga mga hardware devices ang connected sa computer and then configured it properly. And also, it reads an opening batch of instructions. So these startup instructions will assign the task for the operating system to carry out each time the computer boots. So like mag-prompt ang user to sign in or to an instant messaging program or mag-launch pa siyang security program to run continually in the background to detect possible threats. So, kanang mga softwares na to or mga programs nga nag-run sa background. So, yan na siyang i-carry out as soon as ang boot ang computer. Next would be configuring devices. So the operating system also configures all devices connected to a computer. So small programs called device drivers or simply drivers are used to communicate with peripheral devices like monitors, printers, mga portable storage devices, and keyboards. So, nanay mga drivers for that. So, most operating systems today include the drivers needed for the most common peripheral devices. So in addition, like kanang mga na yung mga drivers that is often come on a CD package for the peripheral device or they can be downloaded from the manufacturer's website. Like example, pinaka-common yung example ano is kanang mga printer. So, di ba, printers, before na ni mo magamit ng printer, kinahanglan sa nimo i-install ang printer driver. So usually kay naka CD na siya or pwede ra siyang downloadon sa inyong mga site. So most operating systems today look for and recognize new devices each time the computer boots. So if a new device is found, so the operating system typically tries to install the appropriate driver automatically in order to get the new hardware ready to use. So ang tawag ana is the what we call plug and play. So plug and play is usually kita na to na siya sa kanang mga USB and firewire devices since those devices can be connected to a computer when the computer is running. So those devices are recognized and configured as needed. So each time they are plugged in into the computer. So munang akato siyang mga devices are what we call the plug and play devices. So another function of an operating system is managing network connection. So the operating system ang good is also in charge of managing your network connections such as wired connection to a home or office network or napoy mga wireless connections at home, schoolwork, or on the go. So for instance, pag mag-move into range of wireless network ka, the operating system will notify you that a new wireless network is available and then either connect your device to that network or wait ka for instruction to connect to the network depending on your device wireless network settings. Kaya diba naman po yung mga wireless network settings nga or nakaset siyang wireless network as hidden. So, na yung mga appropriate na instructions kung saan na yung pag-access. Then we also have managing and monitoring resources and jobs as one of the functions of an operating systems. Okay. As you work on your computer, ang operating system nato will continuously manage your computer resources. So, unsa nga na siya nga klase ng mga resources? Kanatong mga software, disk space, and memory. So, it will make them available to devices and programs when they are needed. So, if there is a problem na mag-occur such as kanang mag-stop ba ang program from functioning or there are too many programs that are open nga dili siya makaya sa imong amount of memory kana sa imong computer. So the operating system now will notify the user and tries to correct the problem often by i-close niya ang katong program. So or muna siya makita natin ang mag-blue screen. So if the problem cannot be corrected by the operating system, so muna siya nga i-require siya nga i-reboot ang computer. Meaning kinahanglan siya mag-restart or i-restart ang computer. Okay, so aside from that, pwede po siya mag-schedule og jobs. So kaning mga jobs nato is kanang every time nga natay gina-click or gina-request sa computer, jobs na siya ang tawag. So anay mga kanya, depende bitaw sa nay ginatawag na to nga job prioritization. So kumbaga kung unsa tong una nimong gi-click, mo to supposed di dapat ang mauna og ka process. So mo na siya. Tong una nimong nga job or request nga gi-demand or conduct with the computer. So mo na siya dapat ang una pud ma i-process niya. So kung 'di ba na may times nga sige ra kag kuan tapos walay action or respond ang computer. So mo na siya nga um naay kumbaga lagi nga nahitabo. Pero kung mabantayan ninyo katong una ninyong gikon mo jud na usually ang iyang process. Okay, then we also have file management. So another important task that the operating system performs is file management. So pag tag file management, it keeps track of the files stored on a computer so that you can be able to retrieve it anytime you want or when needed. So usually the operating system files are stored inside one folder, like the Windows folder, and each application program is stored in its own separate folder, which is inside a main programs folder. So tawag na to na is mga program files. So other folders designed for storing data files are typically created by the operating system for each user. Like, diba, makita na to nga na yung mga folders nga may documents, may music, and may pictures. So, kuha na siya, default na sa operating system na to. So, you can put kanang i-separate nimo or i-sort nimo imong mga files into document, music, or pictures. So also, individuals are allowed to create additional folders as desired to keep their files organized. So folders can contain both files and other folders called subfolders. Then we also have security. So a computer's operating system can use passwords, mga biometric characteristics, or firewalls to other security procedures that will limit access to the computer and other system resources to only authorized users. So most operating systems also include other security features like a firewall that will protect against unauthorized access via the internet or an option to download and install security patches. So kanang mga security patches mo ng mga small programs updates that correct known security problems. Then, i-install na siya automatically sa imuhang OS, sa imuhang computer on a regular basis. So, sometimes nanay ka ng scheduling bitaw kung kano sa mag-update. So, di na mo matingala nga nung turn off ninyo kay nanay ka nag-install or I mean update and restart or update and shutdown, so mga nga na. So files and folders are usually viewed in hierarchical format. So ang topmost part is called the root directory. So usually ang mga root directory kanang mga kanang makita nato nga na the hard drive C, hard drive D, kay mga nga na. So the root directory typically contains both files and folders. So to access a file, kinahanglan nimo mo navigate to the folder that contains the file by opening the appropriate drive, folder and subfolders, or pwede ra pud mo specify ang path jud sa file's exact location. So for example, kani siya nga you wanted to access the uh, file nga Mary. So you have to go to the path niya, which is wagi kag drive C, then my documents and letters, then Mary na file. Also, operating systems often utilize various processing techniques in order to operate more efficiently and increase the amount of processing the computer can perform in any given time period. So some of the techniques most commonly used by operating systems to increase their efficiency are: first would be multitasking. So multitasking is refers to the ability of an operating system to have more than one program, or other term would be task, open at one time. So for example, multitasking allows a user to edit a spreadsheet file in one window, okay, then while loading a web page in another window. Okay, pwede na siya, di ba? Parang duha ka buong window imong gi-open. Isa, spreadsheet file, ang isa kay um, pwede web browser, or pwede po nga mag-retrieve ka new email messages in one window while nagbuhat ka og a document with another one. So, yun nga na. So, without the ability to multitask, an operating system would require the user to close one program before opening another program. Muna siya mo isa sa mga good things about um, operating system is that you can multitask. Okay. So, pag may tag inability to multitask, meaning to say, kung mag-open ka og new program, close sa ito nimo itong una nimo i-open. Kung mura siya one program at a time. Then, we have multi-threading. So, multi-threading is, okay, pag may tag threading or thread is, it's the sequence of instructions within a program that is independent of other threads, like spell checking, printing, and opening documents in a word processing program. So, um, if your operating system support multi-threading, which is refers to the ability to rotate between multiple threads so that mas paspas o mas efficient ang processing, or mahuman or makomplete ang processing. So, even though only one thread is executed by a single core at one time. So, most operating system now, dili lang single thread ang iyahang ma-process, but it can support multi-threading. Okay, next would be multiprocessing and parallel processing. So both multiprocessing and parallel processing involve using two or more CPUs or multiple cores in a single CPU in one computer to perform work more efficiently. Okay, so the problem lang, or the primary difference lang di ay between these two techniques, that kung multiprocessing siya, each CPU or core typically works on a different job. Like example, this one, sa multiprocessing ninyo part ha, ang CPU 1 na to, mo na iyahang mga gibuhat daw nga task or job. Okay, nag-open og word processing document, then nag-conduct og spell checking. Then, ang second job niya is nag-perform og spreadsheet calculation using Excel. Then, balik na po dito as a word processing. So, mo ni siya nga panang sa CPU 1. So, kumbaga, in multiprocessing, each CPU or core typically works in a different job. Kay lahi man po diri sa tuang CPU 2. So, nga na. So, with that, this is multiprocessing. Sa parallel processing, ang nahitabo dire is the CPUs or cores usually work together to complete one job more quickly. So, natay duha ka CPU, CPU 1 ug CPU 2, gitunga nila ang trabaho. So, meaning to say, kung loading web page, so gitunga siya sa both CPU 1 ug CPU 2, so nahitabo mas paspas siya mahuman. Okay, so in either case, tasks are performed simultaneously. Okay, pasabot na to sa simultaneously at exactly the same time. Meaning to say, kanitanan nga tasks were done at the same time. So, in contrast na siya sa multitasking o multi-threading that uses a single CPU or core, kay ang kwan diri nga part, ang processing diri nga part is done sequentially. Meaning to say, pag may tag sequentially, ang imong isa ka task kinahanglan nimo siya mahuman kay before ka maka-proceed to another task. Okay, so meaning to say, humanon sa nimo siya, dapat mauman sa ka og spell check. Okay, then dira pa ka magsugod og kung sa mong web page loading. So, nga na. So, sequential siya. Okay, pag may sequential processing, tasks are performed one right after the other. Nga na. So, manay difference sa sequential ug simultaneous. Okay, so usually pag multiprocessing, it is supported by most operating systems and ginagamit na siya usually sa mga personal computers that have multi-core CPUs as well as with servers and mainframe computers that have multi-core CPUs and other or multiple CPUs. Parallel processing on the other hand is used most often with supercomputers. Let's see. Because many of today's programs are memory intensive, good memory management, which involves optimizing the use of main memory or RAM, can help speed up processing. So the operating system, now, yung trabaho is to allocate RAM to programs as needed and then reclaims that memory when the program is closed. So because each additional running program or open window, mag-consume magyapon na siya og memory, so users can also help with memory management by limiting the number of startup programs to only the ones that are absolutely necessary, as well as by closing windows when they are no longer needed. So it's one way of minimizing the gamit o memory sa to ang mga computers is katong mga wala na to ginagamit or dili jud kay necessary nga dapat naka-open nga mga application programs, okay, close na to na siya. Okay, so that is to optimize the use of our main memory. So, naputoy ginatawag nga memory management technique nga frequently used by operating systems, and that is what we call the virtual memory. So that virtual memory is, yahang trabaho is it uses a portion of the computer's hard drive as additional RAM. So all programs and data located in RAM are divided into fixed length pages or variable length segments. Depende na siya sa operating system nga itong ginagamit. So when that amount of RAM required exceeds the amount of RAM available, so yung buhaton is, ang buhaton sa tong OS is i-move to niya ang pages from RAM padulong sa tong virtual memory area of the hard drive. So, ang tawag nato ana nga area is called page file or swap file. Para dili kaayo kunday mahitabo na siya pag mag-exceed bitaw ang ato ang amount of RAM nga atong ginagamit. So, kung available sa katong available na lang. So muna siya nga gamiton sa OS ning ginatawag na tong virtual memory. So another technique to increase efficiency is this what we call buffering and spooling. So some input and output devices are exceedingly slow compared to today's CPU. So if the CPU had to wait for these lower devices to finish their work, okay, may tabo sa ato ang computer system pa-experience yung horrendous bottleneck. So for example ha, your computer uh, or as a user, you need to send a 100-page document to the printer kay print ka. So assuming ang ato ang printer lang can output 20 pages per minute, so may tabo ang 100-page document nato would take 5 minutes to finish printing. So with that, if the CPU had to wait for the print job to be completed before performing other tasks, so may tabo na to, ma-tied up ang ato ang computer sa 5 minutes nga printing. So kumbaga magdili daw kakagamit og another or di siya maka-perform og other tasks kay tungod kay na stock up siya sa 5 minutes nga printing job. So to avoid that problem, So, ang ginabuhat sa mga operating systems nato is they use buffering and spooling. Pag minatag buffer, it's an area in RAM or on the other hard drive designated na mag-hold of data used by different hardware devices or programs. And pwede sila mag-operate at different speed. So, like example, ang ato ang ginatawag na keyboard buffer, okay, it stores the characters as they are entered via the keyboard, and then ang print buffer na to will store document that are waiting to be printed. So, kumbaga, pwede nimo siya stock lang sa parang butang lang sa nimo siya, store lang sa nimo siya as waiting list or nasa waiting list. Ang may tabo kung paano siya gamiton, so dira siya murag i-pull lang to nimo dito. So that process of placing items in a buffer so they can be retrieved kung paano siya gamiton is what we call buffering or spooling. So the most common use of buffering and spooling is during printing. So muna yung ginatawag natin ang print spooling. So print spooling allows multiple documents to be sent to the printer at one time, pero hinahinayan na niya og print. So muna ang ginahin mo natin nga, kung mag-print ta, mura siya imuha siyang i-stock lang sa, so every time nga mag-print ka, sulod lang sa anin siya dito at temporarily. So ang buhaton sa printer karon kung sa tong order dito mo na iya hapong i-print. So mo na siya. So, pwede na nimo siya buhaton. Okay. Ang error lang anak kasagaran is kanang mahutdan o kaning papel. Kaya dapat manggod continuously na siya. So, mag-error ba yan na kung hurot na ang papel, so mo na siya. So, dapat katong first nga mag-react siya nga na error. So, dungagan na ito nimo para continue siya. Okay. Ingan na. So, with that, mag-queue na siya dito. Muna yung ginatawag na ito nga print queue. While nag-perform ang imong computer o other tasks, so sige po print ang printer nimo. So the documents are waiting to be printed. So naa na siya dito sa print queue na to. So katong print queue, muna siya ang mag-designate sa order sa documents sa to be printed. So ang order niya is depende sa kung sa tong una nimong kuan for printing. Then there are also different types of operating systems that is available to meet different needs. So some of the major distinctions among operating systems include the user interface utilized, ang category of device that the operating system will be used with, and the type of processing the operating system is designed for. So a user interface is the manner in which an operating system interacts with its users. So most operating systems today uses a graphical user interface or GUI. Kanang mura na siya, ingani na siya. Pero the older versions of operating system na tinatawag natin DOS, okay, and some versions of Unix and Linux operating systems, ang gamit ana is command line interface. So mura ra siya og ingani. So although nanay mga graphical versions of Unix and Linux that are available today, pero sa una jud ingani lang ni siya. Command lines lang tanan. So command line interfaces requires user to input commands using the keyboard. Then while ang graphical user interface allows the user to issue commands by selecting icons, buttons, menu items, and other graphical objects. Typically, gamit na to is kanang mouse, stylus, or finger. So, kumbaga, karon mostly na jud how we interact with the operating system or how we interact with our computer is the use of GUI or graphical user interface. So, operating systems also mga graphical versions of Unity. Command-line interfaces requires user
So okay, we will stop for from there, no? Kasi it's already 9:06, so it's already time. So the video is about an hour, so I think we will continue this afternoon. no? So I'm very sorry for the technical problems kanina na encounter because yun nga I have problem with the earphones and the headset. So at least na-solve mo dahil siya nga tuon mo dahil. So again, thank you so much for coming in this morning. So to those who are watching, thank you and see you this afternoon. And dito sa live, please stay put muna because may may meeting tayo for a while. Okay? So again, don't forget to thumbs up the video and see you this afternoon. Goodbye everyone.